Hey folks, I'm JD. Welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and please hit like. Now what do I have here? I have a Seiko Turtle Dive watch. This is my very first watch I ever bought. I spent, I believe, $250 for this. It's a fully automatic watch. I think it's got a 7S26 movement in it. I'll see that when I turn the back. It came with a crappy Seiko strap, so I changed that with a strap with screwed in lugs and a machine clasp, so that's all great. It runs okay, but I should try cleaning it again. There we go. And it's got, what is it, it's the gotta turn it the other way, turn it this way. What is that? 6309 7049. You can look that up. 6309 7049. And the serial number is 001240. So this is an old watch. 1,240 of these when I bought it. So still running, still in pretty decent condition. And look at that baby, eh? The old Seiko. So I would sit on the couch with this back in the 80s when the kids were very young. And and one of my kids, or both of them, I guess, both my boys, my daughter didn't do this, would spin this thing all the time. And they spun it to the point where it just flies around. And no longer, this was not unidirectional, it's bidirectional. It never was unidirectional. It's a Seiko automatic. It's a 7S26 movement, I believe, in there. That was a Seiko workhorse movement. I don't think it's got a very good amplitude. I brought it in to be maintained years ago, and the guy screwed up. And that's the reason why I became a watchmaker, because this guy bullshitted me. He basically just took the case back off, marked it, and gave it back to me. He was supposed to take pictures of the movement, disassembled, didn't do it. I kept calling him for a couple of weeks saying, is it ready yet? He kept saying, not yet, not yet. Then I called him one day and he said, oh, it's ready now. And then he just marked the back and he said, oh, I didn't have time to take the pictures of the movement. And he didn't do anything. All he did is put a little oil on it, regulated the movement, and then gave it back to me and charged me 200 skins, $200. So it's kind of running okay right now, but I wish it was running a little stronger. I may in fact flip the balance on it. It's old. The balance, the hairspring on there is old. It's a like I said, it's probably vintage circa. I bought this, I think, in 1980. Did I 83? I bought it in 1980. I was out of money, but I loved it so much, and I'm an old scuba diver, that I decided to spend my last $250 on this thing. I was starving for about a month and a half or 2 months. I couldn't afford to buy food, but I had this really nice watch. Oh man. And it's a nice watch, and these things are valued. They're highly valued. People are looking to get one of these things nowadays because they look so great. It's a classic. Anyway, it's my first watch. So what I'm going to do on today is I'll probably screw it up, but I'm going to pop the bezel off. And I'm just going to, it's fairly loose right now, pop the bezel off, see what's going on underneath this bezel, hopefully be able to tighten the bezel spring, and then return the bezel and see if I've got a little bit of tightness here on this. So let's get on with that job. So some of the times the bezel will come off just by getting that your case back opener inside the slot here like this, and then kind of easing it out. And I know no other way of doing this, by the way, so I'm thinking that if that doesn't work, then nothing will work. So I'm also looking to see, is there an area on the bezel which is a little slot on the edge of the bezel that was made for taking this thing off. Maybe not, maybe so. Well, I do see something right here, which looks like it might be something for removing a bezel. Now, I'm not sure if this case back opener will do the job. I don't know right now. I just know that it's going to be tough probably to take off. Oh, there we go. Did it. Look at that. Came off quite easy, actually. So what do I have here? I've got this little friggin' piece of whatever here. Is this a... Oh yeah, look what happened. So I took the bezel off. The illumination, or the lume dot from the top, also came off. Now, why did that come off? I got to put that somewhere where I'm not going to lose it. So let me get a piece of black something, because I will lose that for sure, right? let me put this on top of the this little tiny bottle here, because I don't want to lose this. This is the little tiny loomed dot that this goes into this thing, and I'm not sure if it goes in the back or the front, but it's a loomed dot. So there it is there. And now right here I have that little tiny ball bearing that's supposed to ride along the edges and do clicking, right? That's what that does. And that ball bearing is old as crap. So, and I know there's dirt from 21 BC in here. So I'm going to use my tweezers and just go around the circle here and see if I can relieve this from a little bit of its dirt. Well, there's a lot of dirt here, so it's probably going to take more than this. I think I'll use a screwdriver for doing this. Let me grab a smaller bladed screwdriver and see if I can ride this around the circle, and then use Rodico for cleaning this up after, right? So that might help. I'm not sure. I don't think that will actually solve my bezel issue, but it will get rid of a lot of crap. If you look at the crap that's in this watch, see that big clunk of stuff? This is probably seaweed from scuba diving. This is 1983 skin. Or I'm saying 83 because that's when I graduated from university, but this is probably 1981 skin. So this goes way back. I do have a special tool I'm going to show you that helps occasionally for doing this kind of work. And I'm also going to get rid of my stupid hat in case it interferes with the video. But I think I'm going to have to get that special tool out. Look at the crap here, folks. Look at the shit that's in this watch. Holy jeez. This has been... You know, if you lose the little marble, the little ball bearing that keeps the pressure on the upper side of that watch, oh, don't say words like pressure, because it makes the dust fly away. So stay away from all words that have the letter, and I'm not even going to say it right now, but you know the letter I'm talking about, the P letter, because you'll end up with crap all up. Put that little dot back. You'll end up with crap all over the place. But look at all the shit in here. Holy Jesus. Now, I'd really like to not lose this click here, but this click hasn't been clicking in a long time. And there's a single click, one rotation on the bezel. I may have to remove this somehow or try to oil it just to get it clicking again. The other thing is, in here, is there a bezel ring? That is the question is. So I've got, what I have here is a bezel. I've got you, babe. I've got you, babe. I've got a 50-year-old, whatever the hell this is. That looks like it's a diving, yeah, this is like 50 years old, and it's stiff as hell. I think this is a gasket. And is there anything more than the gasket? I don't think there is. I think that's it. But I think if I attack this, so it's just the gasket. Wow. What a beast. So this looks like a gasket, but it's so old and crusty that there's no way this is provides any friction for the movement of this bezel. So I'm going to use the Bergeron 6240 pen, and it just shoots out a little bit of fiberglass on the end here, and this fiberglass, let me just get this fiberglass out a little bit and push it back, and this fiberglass it'll clean up the material here. I know I'm going to get messier than this mat will allow me to collect, but if I just go around in the circle here and do this, I'm going to be able to clean up a lot of the crap on this bezel, because it does take away inconsistencies considerably fast. And just clean it up like this. My old bezel. Yeah, this watch has been on many dives over the years. I dove while I was in university. I dove before university. I was actually in high school, and now he's certified. It's all Patty these days. Don't say the B word. I will change any of the P words with B words for this video so I don't blow that dust all over the place. So anyway, I was now certified, and I did the course. Took all winter because back in the day, it was a military dive course, and I was a lifeguard at the pool, and they threw me into the course because I asked the guy who was running the course, Mr. Pierre Levine, who supposedly was on the Calypso with Jacques Cousteau back in the day, and I asked if I could take that dive course, and he said, yeah, join the course. So I joined the course with all these guys who looked like adults, and I was a kid. Oh, there we go. So that's done, and then we get this bezel here and see if I can scrape anything else, escape anything here away from this. I think that the actual insert is aluminum. Aluminum. I had an admin assistant that used to say aluminum. She couldn't say aluminum. So I used to say, hey, say aluminum. And she'd say aluminum. Right now I think that'd be harassment, but she was a good head and we had a lot of fun. So there we go. So that's that. I guess the question is, can I find another ring that's like this size that would fit in here? That'd be perfect, right? So I'm going to get rid of some of this dirt first. And the way I do that is I just fold this over like this, because this stuff will just pop out like that. And I have a container that collects all kinds of crap, right? My crap container. I think I just got a splinter in my finger too. Let me look here. Yeah, there we go. That splinter comes from, I got a bunch of splinters. And they're from that pen. The pen is great, but man, it collects these little tiny splinters when you're using it. So you can just prick your finger a little bit. Luckily I have a stereo microscope and I can use that to pull out these stupid splinters. Put them back in again. And the size of those stupid splinters are really small. They just jump right into your skin. Come on, grab that thing and pull out. Fiberglass pricklies. There's another one there. It's all part of fixing the bezel. So that's that part there. And then what I do next is I get myself a can of air. Because without a good can of air, you're nothing. So I get a can of my dust off for electronics compressed gas duster. There we go. Dust off. So this is compressed air. And I'm not gonna do it here because I'll spread shit all over the place. But I'm gonna go up to the side and spray it away from you, because the last thing you want is one of those little flakes to get in your eye socket. Right, same thing with this. I'm gonna just spray this. See if I can spray it here without any consequence. A little bit. So just spray that for a while, then you're gonna Rodico it next. Alright, so now it's all sprayed off. And just get yourself man's best friend, which is not today duct tape, it's Rodico. And you're going to just move the Rodico around the rim here where the bezel goes on, and just try to catch as much dirt as you can. Leftovers here. And I'm going to see if I can find the right size jobby doohickey to go inside that thingamajob after I have cleaned this. So you clean that, and you can also ride the Rodico on the inside here and perhaps catch some dust here. You can scrape it on or just push it on. Either way works well. I could throw this in an ultrasonic cleaner, but this should do the trick. It should do the trick. Yeah, I can still see a little bit of dirt in the cracks on the bezel, the inserts. So I could take my brush and attack each one of those. I should do that actually. So I'd be a good boy to if I do that. So the 6240 pen is great. It's gold, Jerry. Gold, I tell you. So I think my watchmaking is going to pick up in 2025. And like I said, I do work for vintage pocket watches, and I do it for people that, where it's, for me, it's a hobby, right? So it's got to be someone who's got a watch that means something to them, like their grandfather or grandmother, even though I don't like doing ladies' watches, but the watch means something to them and they'd like me to get it working again. I don't charge what you normally would charge to do a restoration of a watch or whatever. You probably pay $1,000 for something like that. I don't charge that because this, for me, is not a business. It's a hobby. So if it was a business, I would charge that. I'd make tons of money and that's it, but I don't do that. Don't do it for that reason. So if you want me to look at your watch, it's a family heirloom of some sort, I will take a lot of time to do work on it and make my $1.50 an hour. I think that's what end up making when you have to do stuff like this, like I'm doing right now, where each one of these little grooves is getting some attention. And these are the grooves that the little ball bearing rides into that gives you that click sound. I'm also going to check that ball bearing too to see if it's springy still, if it goes up and down. Because I think a little bit of oil on that might solve the problem. I've also lost one of these ball bearings before years ago, and I know that the end of a ballpoint pen will fit into that hole. So, which is kind of cool. Or you can spend a fortune on a bunch of ball bearings. I think I have a bag of ball bearings that I bought a long time ago, but try to find that bag of ball bearings when you need to. Not possible. There we go. So this now looks clean as a whistle. That's pretty good. I can see one right by my thumb there that needs to be looked at. Where's my thumb? The other thumb. Maybe that was my finger. Okay, there we go. See, you got a little bunch of little dirt down there, right? And once again, I'm going to ride this with Rodico around the corner. That'll pick up all of the little flakes and whatever. I probably have more pieces of that cleaning pen in my skin again. So, and I got to figure out a way of putting this insert back in. I think there's a little lip there, so I may just be able to put it in, like place it in. That might be possible. If I need to glue it, that's a different game. But I do need to find. Let me look at that. Yeah, I think there's a lip there, so that little glow in the dark thing, that thing doesn't glow anymore. So it's past its glowing days. So I'm going to also air spray this thing. I buy like a ton of these cans of airspray, by the way, and they work really well. So now the next trick is to get a set of rings out to see if I can find a ring this big that might fit. So I'll be back. So the next step is to find the right ring to replace this, and so I've got Bergeron rings here, a bunch of them with various diameters. I've got a box of rings here, a box of different diameter millimeter rings. And I think this is also another box of rings. So let's see if I can find the right ring and I get right back to you. So the bigger ones of these rings I think are still way too small. And plus they're flat, they're not a round gasket. So that won't work. So I don't think this package or these Bergeron rings will work. I think they're meant for the case back and not what this is trying to do. Even the size 33-31 looks like it's not big enough, plus it's flat. So the round ring, the roundness of that ring is what's snugging against the bezel, which causes the friction, which causes this thing to work, hopefully, right? So these rings are of no use for this job. That's why in watchmaking you tend to have a million different parts. So I'm going to jump into this set of stuff and see if I can find something that's big enough to fit. This could be another problem, though. I can see it already. Yeah, these rings tend to be flat and not round. I may be screwed. I may have to buy a special type of bezel ring. which I didn't want to do, but it may be, I may have no choice but to do that. These ones are no good either. So I tried looking at all these, they're no good either. And these ones are all flat gaskets as well, so that's no good. So that has been a complete failure. Now for a little bit of success, maybe I'm going to have a look at this ball bearing and see if it moves up and down. And then if it doesn't, I'm going to put a little oil on it and see if the spring revitalizes it a bit. Okay, it is moving there. So I did get it to move. I think I need to use another tool. We don't need to use a screwdriver to do this. We want to use a very small, flat tool. Perhaps this will work. I don't know. Nope, that's not flat enough. So I'm going to get a punch from my punch set here. Let's see if I can use that to push this down. Oh my God, I'm reaching in to try to reach this thing and it's fighting me. So when you grab your punches out from your stakes out from your staking set, they have a device like this here that is used to pick the stake up like this and then pull it out. So use this. It's got a little spring on it for some, I don't know why, but anyway. Use that, push it in like that, grab your stake and then take it out again. So I tried taking it out without doing that and I was failing miserably. So that's what that's for. And I don't know whether the stake is round enough for me to, yeah it is actually. So now I can press on this. Yeah, I can see it going up and down. So I'm going to put a little tiny bit of oil on that, little drop of oil on that, which may help it ride up and down a little bit better. There, that's enough. And that oil that I'm using is 0W20 oil. So that's, I wanted to get a little bit of that inside where the spring is. So I'm going to push this down again a little bit like that and kind of see if I can force some of the oil to get in there. There we go. That's good there. And then I want to clean it up a little bit with Rodico. Man's best friend. So there, that's done. And I'm going to reuse this bezel because for now I can't find another one. So that's a good enough reason. And then I'm not sure if this dot will go back. The dot that stopped 1,000 ships. I think if I glue this in, it might work, right? A little tiny bit of glue on the edges, and this thing could go in perfectly, right? Yes, I think that is the secret. Yeah, so what I'm going to do for this bezel, I've got a little tiny bit of glue. I'm going to use my favorite glue, which is hypo cement. I'm going to put a little bit of glue just on the edge of this, and then I'm going to try to push that in, and maybe the glue will hold it. I can put the glue on the outer edge of this actually and push it in, and it's easy to clean up if you make a mistake with this glue. It's not a big deal, but I don't know. It's going to be tricky because I just need to take the glue and put it on the piece of paper first, like that. Just like that. And then put the lid back on because this glue always wants to come out. It's continuously trying to escape. I just clean the nozzle off with my finger here and put that back together. And now I'm going to roll this in the glue like that on one side, and then I'm actually rolling it. And the glue will tend to get kind of a consistency of a paste, right? So I'm not sure how much of this you guys are going to be able to see, but I want to put that now back in the hole. And I'm going to have to do it back here just for eyeball's sake. So I'm just going to put it near the hole, and I'm going to use, I think, my screwdriver or a needle. Maybe a needle will work better to help guide it. So I need 2 hands to do this. This glue is sticky as crap. I'm actually fighting myself with the glue to try to get this material into the hole. So that glue I put down wants to stay in place. So I think I got to get another needle out. You can never have too many needles, by the way. So. And there's a friend of mine, Mike, who's a watchmaker, and Mike has purposely got disinfectant, and he puts it on all his needles because he said he knows he's going to jab himself with the needle eventually, right? And I think I need to get my world's sharpest tweezers out. So these are the tweezers that I have in my briefcase every now and then. I got about 5 pairs of these things. And every now and then I reach in and jab the crap out of my hand. Sorry about the coughing, but sorry about that. I'm going to have a look at this from the other side to see if it actually looks like anything. Sorta. It looks like it needs to go in more flush. I bet you if I use my stake to push down on it, it'll go in more flush. You know what? That worked. That worked. Yeah, now I can see it's flush against the edge there. There we go. It looks really old, by the way. It looks like there's a crack in the in that actual material there. So that's good there. There's a little bit of glue sticking out, but I'm not concerned with it because this bezel was riding way too freely anyway. And now I'm just going to toss this ring back in because I think the ring was in the bezel. So if I toss this ring back in, and I may want to put a little bit of lubricant on it or something because I want it to be free enough. I don't care if there's a little bit of dirt on it right now. I just want it to be able to rotate and stay where it's supposed to stay. So there we go. So now that's back in the slot right now. And again, like I said, I don't care about the friction. Now the bezel itself here, the rim here will keep that little marker in place because when I took that out, it moved. So now I'm hoping I just push this in. I don't know if the friction from this ring will work. If it doesn't, I can take the bezel off and change that friction later on. But this is going to go into position now. And I got to push down on this now. I'm hoping that that works and I don't have to get my serious push down tools out. There we go. So that's snapped in. You hear that? It's still loose, but I'm also, it's staying, it's not spinning like it was before. And that ball is keeping it a little bit better in place, so that's not too bad. So that's the job. I think I should probably look for a round bezel ring or gasket for this thing and then just pop it off and put the gasket in. But as you can see, it's back in place and the little dot seems to be staying where it's supposed to stay. So that's it. That's my Seiko dive watch. Popped the bezel off, did a little work on it, still spins around pretty freely, but I think I need to replace that bezel. It doesn't have that jagged piece of wire that's in there for a lot of the old Seikos. I don't think this ever had that jagged piece of wire because I never took this bezel off before. So there you go. So that's it. I'm JD. Welcome to my channel. Thanks for watching this little tiny maintenance job. This cleaned up that bezel nicely, a little bit of oil on the ball, and now I can actually hear it clicking. See that? That's good stuff. It's bouncing up and down now. That's holding it up a bit. So that was the job. It runs a lot smoother now. It doesn't, you can actually hear the bezel now, which is nice, the click or whatever. So that's a little bit of oil on that ball bearing, and I cleaned up the rest. I do need to get a round gasket for this, so I may buy myself a set of round gaskets of various sizes instead of spending 25 bucks on one gasket. So I'm going to go gasket hunting and see if I can get myself an assortment of gaskets. I'm going to measure the outside of this so I can start at this and then measure the outside of this, and I'll end it at that, and I'll make sure I fit the gasket in there. That'll tighten this up a bit, and it's all good. I don't use this for diving anymore anyway because I got some pretty big, gaudy dive watches. Like, I'll show you some.